Greetings and welcome to another episode of the Rockford Files. No, scratch that, reverse that. This is Black Bear News, where everything is connected and all the viewers are smarter than the average bear. What's going on, people? How you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging out. That's a good quote. Bella, fascism is capitalism plus murder. Basically. I mean, there are actual, that's a pretty good one. I like that one. How you doing? We're live on YouTube, Rockfin, Twitter. If you're watching on Twitter, please be a pal. Oh, see, Victory Gin knows how to do it. Tacos for breakfast. Checking in from Twitter. Thanks, Victory Jen. She's showing you how easy it is to just send me a comment from Twitter if you're watching on Twitter. It's pretty easy. I mean, unless you got some kind of stealth technology or some kind of old school flip phone, I don't know, then maybe it's not so easy. So I apologize. If I'm making anybody feel bad, I don't want to make anybody feel bad. That's not what I want to do, is make people feel bad. I don't want to. I don't want to. All right. Well, gang's all here, or they're getting here. What's up, Rockfinners? We're live on Rockfin. I'm going to say hello. Denver, William, Osama, and others. Sure. Huh. Utilizing boron nitride nanoadsorbents for uranium treatment ensures high reusability without the need for chemical agents, making it a novel, environmentally friendly nuclear waste disposal. Okay. Huh. Again, I say, huh. That's interesting. Soil purification material. Well, I guess that's good. I hope. Oops. Somebody's a buzzing me. Um, I mean, hopefully we can use it to lessen the damage we've already done and not do any more damage. Hopefully this isn't an excuse to make some more nuclear plants. That would be bad. You asked me if I ever drink iced coffee. Very rarely. Sometimes it's really delicious, like when it's really hot outside, like super hot outside. I was on an iced coffee kick for a little while, like in the summer. But I'm a hot coffee kind of drinking guy. Gluten-free bagels sounds like a pretty gluten morning. Yeah. Or non-gluten morning. I do. Yeah, sometimes iced coffee is real delicious, but it's got to be hot. It's got to be hot outside. Something's got to be hot for me to drink some coffee. That's all I got to say. Either the weather or the coffee. Something's got to be hot. Oh, Nancy Pelosi makes $2.6 million with stocks in a day. That's pretty good money, I guess, if you can do it. Although I think it's gluten-free bagels are anti-Semitic. Absolutely. Who wants a gluten-free bagel? Disgusting. I find that to be very anti-Semitic. Gluten-free bagels. Puh. Show us how you make deodorant and toothpaste? Oh. Well, I can't do it right now, but I can tell you it's very simple. I can give you the recipes. Do you want the recipes? It's really simple. Like super simple. Actually, what I've been doing with toothpaste lately, non-alcoholic beers. Oh, I might try one. I don't know. I don't drink. I mean, I don't even drink non-alcoholic beers. But once in a while, the taste of one sounds pretty good. So maybe that might be worth it. So I used to make toothpaste. I know we're just talking here. I used to make toothpaste with baking soda and coconut oil and some peppermint oil. That was it. Basically, here, hold on. I mean, I don't, yeah, for non-alcoholics. Non-alcoholic beer, I just never really feel like drinking a beer, I guess. I don't know. I'll just drink a root beer. Root beer is my favorite non-alcoholic beer, and I had one last night. I went to dinner last night, and I had me a root beer, and it was delicious, full of sugar and caffeine. It was great. Oh, anyways, so Excuse me. Pardon me. You used to mix 1 part baking soda with 1 part coconut oil for toothpaste, and then just add peppermint oil to it to taste. That's it. The thing to know is that in the wintertime, coconut oil gets cold and gets hard. So you have to the when you mix it with the baking soda, it's going to make it even harder. So in the wintertime, you're going to have to add more oil. So it's kind of it's just a rough measure by feel kind of thing. So if you're doing the baking soda thing, what I'm doing lately, I cut out the baking soda altogether because apparently it destroys your enamel. This is what I heard. And my teeth were feeling a little bit raw. So now I just use coconut oil and peppermint oil. That's it. So I just get some coconut oil, put it in a special jar for my toothpaste, dump a bunch of peppermint oil in there. I mix it around until it gets good and pepperminty. And that's what I brush my teeth with. That's it. I also have been doing something lately, which I saw on on Instagram, and it seemed to make sense. This guy was saying if you have tooth decay or gum disease, to gargle or swish with warm water and salt, hot water, warm water, whatever. Dissolve some salt. He said sea salt, so use sea salt. Dissolve some salt in some warm water and gargle with it. I've been doing that at night and in the morning. Not gargle, but swish the teeth. And I think that it's actually helping. Because my teeth are really messed up. I do have some some bad tooth decays. So actually, so that's what I've been doing. That's my tooth regimen. Coconut oil, peppermint oil. That's it. No baking soda. I cut that out, and I swish with salt water. Because the salt water kills bacteria, right? It's a antibacterial, so it'll kill bacteria if there's So if you have some kind of issues, xylitol kills the bacteria that causes cavities. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, the salt water is supposed to help to knock down the bacteria on your gums and help your teeth. And so that's what I've been doing. Seems to be helping. As far as the deodorant goes, 1 part cornstarch, 1 part baking soda, 1 part coconut oil. Again, if it's wintertime, you're going to want a lot more oil. If it's summertime, a lot less oil, right? More soda and starch in the summertime because it's hot and it's going to be a little gooey and goopy. So you got to put more starch and oil in there, starch and soda in there to make it firm up. In the wintertime, it's going to get hard. So you want a lot more coconut oil so that it stays kind of like, pliable. What else? Oh, so the deodorant is 1 part all of those, and then I use carrot seed oil, but you can use whatever fragrance you want. So you can use, whatever, eucalyptus or, excuse me, whatever smells good to you, orange oil or something lemony or something, whatever. I use carrot seed oil because it smells really awesome to me, and that's my deodorant. That's it. That's all I do. Okay. I also make my own sunblock, but I'm out of that. That's a little more involved, or actually a lot more involved. God dang it. Sorry. I have a lot of should have drank more water before the show. Okay. So where are we at today? Anyways, thanks for hanging out, guys. Appreciate y'all being here. You all are the greatest of all time. It is not Muhammad Ali. It is you all, the greatest of all time. That sounds frightening. Being attacked by a killer rabbit. He smelled like carrots. From Jammer, I think we're out of bingo cards. Fertilizer. Listen to this. Fertilizer made from treated human waste from the city of Fort Worth, Texas, full of forever chemicals, PFAS, is running off onto ranchers' land, killing their cattle, horses, and fish. Its chemicals are man-made. It's in the biosolids. Fertilizer made from treated human waste, full of forever chemicals, is killing. If you want to know a little bit about overshoot and shoot, I'm over it. This is Chernobyl. Texas ranchers say forever chemicals and waste-based fertilizers ruined their land. And I know. There's a lot of people that are going to be like, they did it on purpose. No, I don't know. Maybe. Or maybe they just do things that seem like a good idea, but they didn't really study the consequences. They just did something that they thought was a good idea as far as getting rid of a waste product and trying to use it for something else without fully testing it or understanding it in order to increase their profit margin. But oopsie, it was the wrong thing. That's most likely the answer. Most likely. Probably 80%. That's the answer. I'll give a 20% margin there for they did it on purpose. They're trying to. It's a depopulation agenda. They did it on. I don't know. I just give that a low probability. Excuse me. Yes. Yeah, if you find somebody to love, hold on to them the way the forever chemicals hold on to your DNA or something like that. Jazz Farm. Yeah, humanure is actually a decent thing when it's not filled with pharmaceuticals, forever chemicals, microplastics, nanoplastics, right? Right? If what's going in isn't too bad, then what comes out is probably not too bad. But if what's going in, yeah, I actually use. I have a dog, and I manure my dog's poop along with other organic compounds and stuff. It's not a bad manure. I also have just compost that's just vegetation compost that is not does not have dog manure in it anyways. And I generally feed my dog. I make my dog's food, so excuse me, god dang it. So it's probably cleaner than most. But let's read this because it's already late in the day. The fertilizer maker says its products are safe and that the government supports using it as a valuable practice that recycles nutrients to farmland. Ranchers here say their cattle, fish, and horses are dying and getting sick because of fertilizer spread on nearby farmland. The fertilizer is made from treated human waste from the city of Fort Worth. How harmful is the treatment of the human waste as well? I wonder. The company that makes fertilizer says its products meet government standards. Well, then it's fine. County officials have launched a criminal investigation, and ranchers are suing, saying runoff from the fertilizer has made their land useless. I mean, this is pretty big. This is a pretty big deal. Rancher Tony Coleman's cattle roam 300 acres just outside of Grandview. He said what was found on his land has turned it toxic. We are nervous and we are scared, he told WFAA. Coleman said his land is contaminated and his livestock and fish are dying because of the product his neighbor used to fertilize his crops. You have your whole livelihood taken from you, Coleman said. He said he's had 10 cows, 2 horses, and 5 ponds full of fish die. Late last year, he contacted Johnson County. Jesus Christ. Sorry. Johnson County Constable Detective Dana Ames. She headed out to the ranch to check it out. Ames said she found what she later learned were piles of fertilizer made from biosolids, which came from human waste and are full of what researchers call PFAS, also known as forever chemicals. It's chemicals that are man-made, Ames said. It's in the sewage sludge. It's in the biosolids. For a year, Detective Ames partnered with scientists and experts to try to figure out how toxic man-made chemicals ended up on ranch land in rural Texas. She recently presented her findings to the Johnson County Commissioner's Court. The contamination that has occurred on her victims' properties is pervasive, she told commissions in her presentation. This is what she and scientists with a group called Public Employees for Environmental Responsibility, or PEER, say happened. It all started at the facility used by the city of Fort Worth to treat its wastewater. According to multiple studies and the Environmental Protection Agency, all humans consume PFAS chemicals, which are used to make up all sorts of products, including shampoo, carpet, frying pans, and even makeup. The chemicals end up in our human waste, which is then sent to a wastewater treatment facility. During the treatment, biosolids are created. These biosolids, also called sewage sludge, can be used to make fertilizer, which is what a company called Synagro does. And Synagro has a contract with the city of Fort Worth to use their biosolids to make fertilizer. Tony Coleman and 4 other landowners are suing Synagro for the contamination on their land. It's scary, and I think our clients are hopeful there will be some relief for them, said attorney Mary Whittle. But they're looking at having to abandon their farms and potentially euthanize all of their animals, which is extremely emotional and hard to face. In an emailed statement, Lane Baroldi, Synagro's vice president of government affairs, told us that the company denies the allegations in the lawsuit and said its fertilizer is safe. And 2 months later, Dana Ames was found, dead of a heart attack, I guess. Oops. No, not true. I'm making that up. And definitely don't wish any ill fate on Dana Ames. But these days, you can't be too careful when you're trying to whistleblow on something, right? When you're trying to point out that a company is poisoning people or the land or something, or not following safety guidelines, well then, if you're trying to bring it to people's attention, that might put you in the crosshairs. Am I right? But man, that's, so you treat your crops with forever chemical laced biosolids, and then you eat the crop. And then people eat the crops with the forever chemical laced biosolids. No. That's scary. Let's move on. Here's a farmer whose potato crops have been destroyed by wet weather. So he's all of his potato crops.
Nothing.
All of his potatoes have been destroyed by too much water.
Nothing left.
This is what extreme weather will do to your food sources.
Almost unrecognizable. I was hoping I would find one good potato here, but there is not. There's not one left. They have all rotted. It's nothing.
Simples, Scott Andrews, and vet waterproof potatoes. Of course. Whatever platform you're watching on, please give a like and share and retweet and repost and whatever you got to do to let people know about the show. I appreciate it. From Steve Austin, not sure I've seen a photo of a drowning person heat before. Not sure what to think about this. Wave of exceptionally hot weather scorches South and Southeast Asia. This is actually from about a week ago. Warnings of wave of exceptionally hot weather scorches South and Southeast Asia. Warnings of dangerous temperatures across parts of Philippines, Thailand, Bangladesh, and India as hottest months of the year are made worse by El Nino. From Jem Bendel, mainstream climatology and climate policy is increasingly fanciful. Meanwhile, emissions rise. Some of us admit it and try to help each other prepare. That upsets those experts cloaked in the prestige of imperial modernity who demand we submit to the gods of tech and elitism. And this is what the magical temperature, the graph of CO2 reductions that are needed to happen to keep global temperatures below 1.5 C. Now listen, where are we here? Is this 2030 or is this 2025? We are here now, right? We're already past 1.5, so we're probably more like here. Am I right? We're probably more like here, like we're going to have to go back. By the way, in reality, if you know anything about climate change or how long carbon stays in the atmosphere or how long the temperature lag is, if you know anything about it, you understand that we're actually way out here, which is that we need to go way back here. We need to somehow get rid of all this carbon that we've released, and also undo the tipping points that have already been breached. Somehow undo all the heat that's in the oceans. I don't know. Not saying that it is impossible. I'm just saying improbable, based on the fact that we can't seem to get it together, the humans. Am I into having an interview with Dana Dumford? Sure. I don't know that much. I mean, or Durnford, excuse me. I think I watched one of Dana Durnford's shows. I don't know a lot about Dana Durnford, and I'm sorry about that. I'm sure I'm open to it. Anyways, Jim Bendel pointing out you know, obvious stuff to a lot of people, right? Anyways, there's no carbon budget. Not for 1.5, not for 2. Sorry, folks. I know that's, for some people that might be. Well, how do you know that? No, I mean, I just quite a few people I think have already come to that. I'm just taking the information that I've heard from some people that are smart and in the know, intelligent folks who know how to, parse this information. Yeah, there's no budget. There's no budget for making any more electric cars. That's for sure. Probably not for making any more phones. Probably not for making much of anything. Now, there might be a little bit of a budget for teaching everybody to grow their own food, to use a lot less energy, to live communally, go back to maybe making your own clothes or mending the clothes that we have. In fact, there is so much. There are so many goods, products, things that we have already made that we could probably feed, clothe, and house everybody on the planet, 5 times over with all the stuff that we have already made. So there's no need to make anything else. Shut her down. Okay. Anyways, let's keep going. Whistleblower Josh Dean. Hold on one second. Got Ali. Well, let's read this article, shall we? Whistleblower Josh Dean of Boeing supplier Spirit Aerosystems has died. Exactly, Victory Gin. A desert in Chile is full of clothes. They, wasn't it like a year ago or 2 years ago? I read that there was a toy manufacturer and I think it was a Funko Pops manufacturer. Everybody, used to love those toys. Not anymore. Anyways, they said they had too much inventory, so they were going to destroy it all so that they could make more. That's the madness of the consumer world that we live in. Again, I say, shut it down. Nobody will, anybody who hears that message will think it's absolutely bonkers to say something like that. But I'm going to say it again. Shut it down. Your corporation has no business being in business. You want to help the planet. You want to save the planet. You want to and help people and animals and everybody in general. The best thing you could possibly do is literally end corporations tomorrow. Pull the charters. Pull their right to exist. And actually, there's a part. I am going to do a Ministry for the Future reading pretty soon. There's a part in Ministry for the Future where they talk about doing just that. Giving, and they talk about a maximum wage, which we have talked about, long ago. We talked about maximum wages. But here's what you do. You put corporations out of business. You give, you say like, hey, man, keep the money you got in your bank. I know you got billions or millions or whatever. Well, we're gonna take some of that because you can't have billions, but we'll leave you with 50 million or whatever. I mean, that's just a ridiculous amount of money. Swear to God, 5 million is a ridiculous amount of money, but we'll leave you with 50 mil. We'll take the rest. We'll take all your, all everything must go. Your assets, no, you don't get to keep anything. Go away. I think 50 million is too much, honestly, because 50 million is enough for somebody to keep doing some crazy effing stuff, right? Like that's too much power. Too much power. That's too much money and too much power. $50 million. Hell no. That's what was proposed in the Ministry for the Future. So I would say something, something along the lines of like a couple mil and get out of here. Have, enjoy. You can live the rest of your life on a couple mil. Have a good time. Anyways, whistleblower Josh Dean of Boeing supplier Spirit Aerosystems has died. Let's see. The second Boeing whistleblower dies after raising concerns about the 737 MAX. A second Boeing whistleblower has died after a sudden illness. Joshua Dean, a former quality auditor at Spirit Aerosystems. Jesus Christ, these ads are just out of control. Can you guys get out of here? Former quality auditor at Spirit Aerosystems went public with claims that the company's leadership ignored manufacturing defects in Boeing's 737 MAX. Spirit Aerosystems is a Boeing supplier. Dean, 45, had an active lifestyle and was believed to be in good health prior to his sudden death on Tuesday following the onset of a fast-moving infection. He was stricken with influenza B and MRSA or MRSA and developed pneumonia. Really? Creative experiments. That's too kind. I would force Jeff Bezos to live off minimum wage for the rest of his life. Ding, ding, ding. I'm with you on that one. Yeah, actually, I'm being very, my idea is super generous. I mean, the other thing could be like, we're going to try all of you guys for crimes against humanity. So we're going to take everything and then you're going to be in jail and, we'll see what happens. That might be a better way to do it. Anyways, Dean spent 2 weeks in critical condition before he died on Tuesday in Oklahoma, according to the Seattle Times. Huh. Sudden infection, eh? Sudden infection, you say? Well, that's pretty convenient. Dean from Wichita is the second whistleblower to die this year after coming forward about safety issues in the aviation manufacturing industry. Boeing whistleblower John Barnett, 62, was found dead in his truck in a hotel parking lot in South Carolina in March. The whistleblower's death is the latest in a string of incidents related to the embattled Boeing over the past year. In January, the Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 9's door plug blew off in midair, leading to the grounding of all 171 MAX 9 jets by the FAA and instigating an investigation. Soon afterwards, at least 4 people came forward, including both of the now dead whistleblowers, to allege that cutting corners in the jet's manufacturing process was causing safety risks. In the wake of the chaos, David Calhoun, Boeing CEO, announced in March that he would step down at the end of the year. Boeing reported a $355 million net loss for the first quarter of 2024, but their stock is up today. Joshua Dean came forward to raise issues of aircraft safety. He said that serious and gross misconduct by senior quality management of the 737 production line had taken place at Spirit. in a complaint to the Federal Aviation Administration. He also testified in a shareholder lawsuit against Spirit Aerosystems filed in December 2023. The shareholders alleged that Spirit concealed from investors that Spirit suffered from widespread and sustained quality failures. Where am I? And that quality failures occurred because the company was chasing profits. Supply Chain Dive reports. Such constant quality failures resulted in part from Spirit's culture, which prioritized production numbers and short-term financial outcomes over product quality. Spirit's related failure to hire sufficient personnel to deliver quality products at the rates demanded by Spirit and its customers, including Boeing, the plaintiffs argued. Those quality failures were so egregious that Boeing put Spirit Aerosystems on probation between 2018 until at least 2021, which prohibited the supplier from shipping parts to Boeing without managerial approval, the lawsuit claims. In January, Dean told the Wall Street Journal that he had been fired for pointing out that holes in jet fuselages had been drilled wrong. He was fired from Spirit Aerosystems in April 2023, and he complained later that his termination was in retaliation. What a world, I say to you. What a world. We're doing the right thing, get you fired, and then dead, right? Shutting your mouth and just, am I loving Martha Stewart's meal kit? What? You're talking about the ads. Sorry. Yeah. Doing the right thing. Operating with honesty and integrity, authenticity gets you fired and dead eventually. And that's how that goes. It is known at Spirit that if you make too much noise and cause too much trouble, you will be moved, Dean said. It doesn't mean you completely disregard stuff, but they don't want you to find everything and write it up. Spirit Aerosystems told the Wall Street Journal that it disagreed with Dean's characterization and that the company would defend itself in court. Other members of Dean's family shared their grief on social media on April 20th. Dean's aunt, Jenny Dean, shared a message from his mother, Ginger Green, saying that he had been diagnosed with influenza B and MRSA and was fighting for his life in the hospital. My son is fighting for his life. He tested positive. And he eventually contracted pneumonia. His infection spread throughout his whole body and his bloodstream. His lungs are completely whited out, and they had to intubate him. Oh my God, that's the end right there. Once you're intubated, it's pretty much donezo. His condition worsened and he needed to be transferred to a hospital in Oklahoma City. He is on dialysis. 2, because he has so much fluid throughout his body, they say his kidneys and liver aren't doing well. Wow. His attorney, Brian Knowles, told the Seattle Times that he did not want to speculate on the nature of his client's death, but stressed the importance of whistleblowers. Whistleblowers are needed. They bring light to wrongdoing and corruption in the interest of society. It takes a lot of courage to stand up, Mr. Knowles said. It's a difficult set of circumstances. Our thoughts now are with John's family and Josh's family. This is John Barnett. The attorney also represented Barnett, who had spoken out about alleged safety problems at Boeing and had been giving evidence in a lawsuit against the company prior to his death. Barnett alleged that Boeing intentionally used defective parts in its planes and warned that passengers on its 787 Dreamliner might face a lack of oxygen if a sudden decompression occurred. Yeah. Denver said whistleblowers dropping like crypto innovators. Yeah, yeah. Aram says there's a 1980 sci-fi movie starring Robert Urich called Endangered Species, where a whistleblower type is murdered. Someone snuck into his bathroom and squirted some liquid on the guy's toothbrush. I'm sure there are lots of ways. Lots and lots of ways. Man. Yeah, it's very sad and suspicious, don't you think? I mean, could he have just contracted influenza B? Sure. He was a healthy guy, 45, pretty young. Pretty young. What was it? 60, 70 years ago, the CIA revealed that they had a heart attack gun. They could basically shoot somebody with something that was so well, it was undetectable, and not long after the victim would die of a heart attack. So they've been working on this kind of stuff for a long time, and to think that maybe they're not anymore or they wouldn't do that anymore is naive beyond belief, but whatever. People are just more psychopathic and power hungry than ever. Ain't nothing changed. Chris Foster. Salt Liquor says Google deleted all of my whistleblower comments until I misspelled the word whistleblower. Probably. Deline says it's my belief George Carlin, Christopher Hitchens, Robin Williams. Don't forget Bill, what's his last name? Why am I blanking out? Bill Hicks. Don't forget Bill Hicks. Were taken out because they ran their mouths. Sure. Thank you. Chris Foster says, I believe that we should use tactics that turned us into consumers to switch the narrative to caring for the community as a whole and making products last instead of built in obsolescence. Sure. Well, Hicks died from cancer, right? Let's see. Well, Chris Foster, that's an interesting comment because I think, yeah, what if, and it's kind of happening in some cultures, in some places. What if it was just like super uncool to like own a bunch of stuff, right? Like it's still like there, like, I don't know, there's a bit of a subculture in LA, and I'm sure other places where people kind of pretend to be less consumerish, but they might still have a lot of money or might have some pretty nice things or live in a pretty nice house, but they kind of they kind of play at being like, you know, not just dressed down, but like, living a less consumerish lifestyle. But what if it were absolutely just like not okay? What if it were culturally, uh, yeah, just not acceptable, right? To live in a certain kind of opulence. And again, there are already kind of subcultures like that. There's already kind of a feeling like that out there, but it would be nice if it would coalesce into a real like, no, we're not going to buy any more new cars. No, we're not. Or we're not even going to use cars, or we're not going to. Right? We're all never going to go to Target again. We're all going to fix our own clothes or make our own clothes, make clothes for each other. Everything's homemade. Everything's like upcycled, right? Everything is made from something that's already existed, you know? Like if that was a real movement, like a big movement, and all of a sudden it just really collapsed a lot of the consumer industries, that would be great. I'd be all for that. That's why they don't like this channel. I'm telling you, that's one of the reasons why they don't like this channel, is because I say shit like that, and they don't want people undermining the consensus of consumerism and wealth and all that kind of prosperity, and like we all gotta raise our standard of living and buy more things and have more things and buy, like, they really don't like people talking about the end of consumer culture or the end of like capitalism as we know it. That's really antithetical to the system, period. But I'm going to keep saying it because that's the real way to go. That's what we must absolutely do. Even if we're not going to save planet Earth, to save our godforsaken souls, like that's absolutely what we should do. Jazz Farm. A friend said I need a T-shirt that says "Ask me about jury nullification." Sure. All right. Real quick, guys, if you enjoy the show, enjoy listening, hanging out, being here, having a place to congregate and congeal together. If you like the show coming at you for free Monday through Friday, please consider supporting the show financially. There are lots of ways to do that. Lots of links in the description box. PayPal, Venmo, etc. Cash App, Zelle, coffees, and all. So many of you already support the show, and you know who you are, and I really, really appreciate you. But anyways. Steve Jobs died of cancer. Hugo Chavez died of cancer. Yeah, Bob Marley died of cancer. A lot of people are very suspicious about Bob Marley's death because you don't understand that music is really powerful. Bob Marley was a very powerful person. His music was very powerful and very political and at the same time spiritual, right? It really moved people. It really, really moved people. And so him getting cancer in the very strange way that he did, a lot of people are like, "What?" I think Bob Marley was not. I feel like that was orchestrated. Absolutely orchestrated. Um, yeah, no, but that's how they're trying to keep me from anybody from knowing, listening to me or whatever, is to, you know, the way that they're trying to get me to shut up is just to make it seem like nobody's listening to me, to make it seem like my channel is really unpopular. There's nobody here, nobody cares, and that's absolutely not true. So let's see. Had a couple other things, but I don't know if I'm going to go too much longer, you guys. It's Friday. I got a lot of things to do. Let's look at a couple of things before we get out of here because it's important. Yes, creative experiments. Exactly. Creative experiment says funny. There's always 25 viewers each time, like a made up number that doesn't change. Exactly. Like if it was organic, my viewership was organic. The numbers back in the day. Let me just really quickly. Sorry. Back in the day, my video views would range between 1,000 and like sometimes 3,000, sometimes 5,000 views a day. Like I was getting a lot of views a day. But there was a range, a big range, and it was, I don't know. Yeah, it was around 1,000 would be the low, the high would be 5,000, but they'd be somewhere in the range in there every day. And then one day they decided like you are not going to get any views anymore, and they cut. Then every video had 1,000 views or under, and they wouldn't let it go above like 1,000 views. It was right around 1,000. Then they lowered it to 500. Then they lowered it to 200. Now they're trying to lower it to like 150. They're gonna. How about 100? every day it's like the same. It's like the same number every day. I'm like, really? How's that possible? That's, anyways, whatever. It's just interesting. It's very interesting. And on top of that, all of my accounts, every one of my accounts, including my music accounts, my personal social media accounts, they all stay at the same. They've been at the same number for like 5 years. Will not move. Like will not. If I get a couple of followers, 10 followers, they all go away. Then I'll get 10 followers, they all go away. Then I get 10 followers, they all go away. They're just like, no, you're not going to get any more followers anywhere on any of your platforms ever. Like, all right. But listen, people that don't even try get followers. Like people that just sit around not saying anything. In fact, it's funny. If I don't post anything on a lot of my accounts, like because I have so many accounts, I can't keep up with them all. But if I don't post anything, I actually start getting followers because they're like, oh, this guy's not saying anything. I actually start getting like, it's weird. It's a weird thing. It's a very strange thing. But every single one of my accounts has been at the same number for like 5 years. Will not grow. Absolutely will not grow. They refuse to let it grow. Anyways, it's just wild. And that's just weird to me because, I don't know. It looks obvious to me. Let me just say this, if there's anybody that's like, anybody out there like listening to my channel to try to, to surveil me or whatever, I see what you're doing. It's just so obvious. When you had all the paid attention seeker people coming up into my chats trying to like get me into arguments and trying to like talk shit about what I was saying and doing. Like I saw that for what it was, and it's not effective. It's stupid, right? I called them all out and they went away after I called them all, after I said, hey, I see that you guys are all just paid, you guys are just paid chatters in here trying to like cause problems. Like just go away. And they did. So I'm just letting you know. I'm just saying this out loud. I don't know if it's algorithms or real people that are trying to squash my channel, but listen, I see what you're doing and it's not going to work. So just, go away. Let it go. Let people listen to what they want to listen to. And I know that more people are listening than you're saying are listening. So, you're not fooling anybody. You're not fooling me. You're going to have to try a different method. So, whatever. Thank you, Chris Foster, for the super chat. I really appreciate you. He says, it'd be more, but my funds are lower than a dachshund's danglies. That's pretty low. Dachshund's danglies. Yes. Thank you so much, though. I appreciate you, man. Every little bit helps and counts. And just checking out, making sure nobody else is up in here. Anyways. Aram says another thing they do is infiltrate. They water down the pool of good people that if they were allowed to take off, gain credibility and ability to sustain themselves saying what's important. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I actually haven't helped myself because, I used to be very argumentative with people in the chats, back in the day. I probably didn't help my cause because I would blow up at people coming in to incite, arguments with me. And now I don't, I get it. Now I see, and even if somebody is a real chatterer trying to incite an argument with me, I'm just not going to do it. But anyways. Deline says your viewer count went up 7 since you started speaking about it. Exactly. Yeah. So, I see you guys. I see what you're doing. Just cut it out. All right. I'm going to keep broadcasting and, people are going to keep watching. So just let them watch and let it be, let it be good. All right. It's okay. Let it be good. All right, guys. That's it for me. I appreciate you. And, appreciate you being here every day and making this a thing that we can do together. Thank you for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. And thank you so much for the conversation. And we'll see you on Monday. Until next time, peace.